First contact. The vast expanse of space stretched before Captain Area Chen as she piloted her small exploration vessel, the Stargazer, through an uncharted sector of the galaxy. After months of solitary travel, the isolation was beginning to wear on her, but her mission to seek out new habitable worlds for humanity's expansion kept her focused. Aria's attention snapped to her sensor displays as an anomalous reading appeared. "What do we have here?" she muttered, adjusting her course to investigate. As she drew closer, a massive structure came into view, unmistakably artificial and definitely not of human origin. Her heart raced as she realized the implications. First contact. The moment humanity had been preparing for, hoping for, and fearing for centuries. And here she was, alone, about to make history. As Aria maneuvered the Stargazer closer, a transmission crackled through her comms. The universal translator struggled for a moment before producing intelligible speech. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself and state your intentions." Aria took a deep breath, steeling herself. "This is Captain Area Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Stargazer. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship." There was a pause that felt like an eternity before the reply came. "Approach Docking Bay 3. We will meet you there." As Aria guided her ship towards the massive structure, she couldn't help but marvel at its design. It was unlike anything humanity had ever constructed. Organic curves blended seamlessly with geometric precision, creating a structure that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The docking procedure was surprisingly smooth, considering the vast differences in technology. As Aria stepped out of her ship, she found herself face to face with beings that were unmistakably alien. They stood nearly 2 meters tall, with iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Their eyes were large and multifaceted, reminiscent of insects, but their overall body structure was surprisingly humanoid. One of them stepped forward. "I am Xyloxa, lead diplomat of the Estrine Collective. Welcome to Station Harmony, Captain Chen." Aria bowed slightly, remembering her diplomatic training. "Thank you for your welcome, Xyloxa. I'm honored to represent humanity in this historic moment." As they began to converse, Aria was struck by how quickly they found common ground. Despite their vastly different appearances and origins, both species shared a deep curiosity about the universe and a desire for peaceful coexistence. Over the next few days, Aria found herself engaging in fascinating discussions about science, philosophy, and culture. The Estrines were particularly intrigued by human art and music, concepts that were somewhat foreign to their highly logical society. In turn, Aria was amazed by the Estrines' advanced technology, particularly in the fields of energy generation and space travel. Their ability to manipulate gravitational fields had allowed them to create the massive space station they were on, as well as achieve faster-than-light travel. As the initial meetings drew to a close, Xyloxa approached Aria with a proposal. "Captain Chen, we would like to establish formal diplomatic relations with your species. Would you be willing to serve as an intermediary?" Aria felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. This was far beyond her original mission parameters, but she recognized the immense opportunity it presented. "I would be honored, Xyloxa. However, I'll need to contact my superiors and receive official authorization." Xyloxa nodded in understanding. "Of course, we can provide you with a communication device capable of reaching your home world, despite the vast distance." As Aria prepared to send her report back to Earth, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and excitement. She had come seeking new worlds, but instead had found new friends among the stars. The future suddenly seemed brighter and full of possibilities. Little did she know that this historic first contact would set in motion a chain of events that would change the fate of both species forever. Cultural exchange. In the months following Captain Area Chen's historic first contact with the Estrine Collective, Earth had been abuzz with excitement. The news of an advanced, peaceful alien civilization had sparked a global renaissance of scientific and cultural pursuits. Now, as Aria stood on the bridge of the newly christened diplomatic vessel Unity, she marveled at how quickly things had progressed. The Unity was a joint human-Astrian project, combining the best of both species' technologies. It served as a mobile embassy and cultural center, designed to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and ideas between the two civilizations. "Captain, we're approaching the Astrian homeworld, Austria Prime," reported Lieutenant Raj Patel, the ship's navigator. Arya nodded, taking in the breathtaking view of the alien planet. Austria Prime was a world of vibrant purples and blues, with swirling cloud patterns that seemed to dance across its surface. "Begin docking procedures, Lieutenant. Let's make a good impression." As the Unity settled into orbit, a delegation of human scientists, artists, and diplomats prepared to disembark. Among them was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a renowned xenobiologist who had been eagerly anticipating this moment since first contact. "Can you believe we're actually here, Captain?" Yuki asked, her eyes shining with excitement. "Think of all we could learn." Arya smiled at her enthusiasm. "Just remember, Dr. Tanaka, we're here to share knowledge, not just acquire it. The Astrians are our partners, not our subjects." The human delegation was greeted by a group of Astrians led by Xyloxa, who had become something of a celebrity on Earth due to the footage from first contact. "Welcome to Austria Prime," they said, their skin shimmering with patterns that the humans had learned to recognize as expressions of joy and excitement. Over the next few weeks, the cultural exchange unfolded in ways that neither species had fully anticipated. The Astrians were fascinated by human music, particularly classical compositions. The concept of creating patterns of sound purely for emotional and aesthetic purposes was novel to their logically oriented minds. In return, the humans were awestruck by Astrian architecture. Their cities were living, breathing entities, buildings grown from advanced bioengineered materials that adapted to the needs of their inhabitants. Dr. Tanaka found herself collaborating with an Astrian scientist named Vexilor on a project to map the genetic diversity of both species. "It's remarkable," she mused one day, looking over their data. "Despite evolving on different worlds, there are surprising similarities in our basic genetic structures." Vexilor's skin rippled with a pattern indicating curiosity. Perhaps it suggests a common origin for life in the galaxy. Or perhaps it's simply the most efficient way for carbon-based life to develop. Either way, it's a fascinating area of study. Meanwhile, Arya found herself increasingly involved in diplomatic discussions. The Astrians were keen to establish trade relations, particularly interested in human agricultural techniques. Their own world, while technologically advanced, struggled with food production due to its unique atmospheric composition. "We can offer you agricultural aid," Arya proposed during one meeting, "in exchange for assistance with clean energy production. Your gravitational manipulation technology could revolutionize our power grids." Zilx's skin flickered with agreement. "An excellent proposal, Captain Chen. We could also offer our expertise in waste management and recycling. We've noticed that your species struggles with these issues on your homeworld." As the exchange progressed, both species found themselves growing and changing. Humans began adopting some of the more logical approaches of the Astrians, while the aliens started to embrace more creative and emotional expressions. One evening, as Arya watched a sunset on Austria Prime, a spectacular display of colors unlike anything on Earth, she was joined by Xyloxa. "Your people have brought much change to our world, Captain Chen," they said, their skin shimmering with a complex pattern of emotions. Arya nodded. "As have yours to ours. I hope it's been a positive change." "Mostly positive, yes. But change always brings challenges. There are some among my people who fear we may lose our identity, our unique culture, in this exchange." Arya turned to face the alien diplomat. "We have similar concerns on Earth. But I believe that growth and evolution are essential for any civilization. We're not losing our identities. We're expanding them, becoming more than we were before." Zilx's skin rippled in a pattern Arya had learned to recognize as agreement. "Wisely said, Captain. I believe our peoples have much to learn from each other yet." As they stood there, watching the alien sun set on a new era of interspecies cooperation, Neither of them could have predicted the galactic storm that was brewing on the horizon, a crisis that would test the newfound alliance between humans and Estrenes to its very limits. Galactic crisis. The alarms blared throughout the Unity, jolting Captain Area Chen from her sleep. She rushed to the bridge, her mind racing through possible scenarios. As she arrived, the view screen flickered to life, revealing the concerned face of Xyloxa. "Captain Chen, we have a dire situation." The Estrene diplomat's skin pulsed with urgency. "Our long-range sensors have detected a massive object on a collision course with the Estrene home system. Initial calculations suggest it could cause catastrophic damage to multiple planets, including Austria Prime and several of your colony worlds." Aria's blood ran cold. "What kind of object are we talking about, Xyloxa?" "It appears to be a rogue planet, Captain, approximately twice the mass of Jupiter, traveling at an alarming velocity. We've never encountered anything like it." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who had joined Aria on the bridge, gasped. "A rogue planet. The gravitational effects alone could destabilize the entire system." Aria nodded grimly. "How long do we have?" Zilx's skin rippled with calculations. "At its current speed, impact with the outer planets of our system will occur in approximately 6 months. 6 months to save 2 civilizations." Aria muttered. "Xyloxa, we need to convene an emergency council. This is bigger than just our 2 species now." Over the next few days, representatives from Earth and Austria Prime gathered on the Unity to assess the situation and brainstorm solutions. The atmosphere was tense, filled with fear and uncertainty. Dr. Tanaka presented her findings to the council. "The rogue planet's trajectory will bring it through the heart of the Estrene system. Even if it doesn't directly impact any planets, its gravitational pull could cause massive tidal disruptions, potentially rendering several worlds uninhabitable." An Estrene scientist named Krelivor spoke up, their skin shimmering with nervous energy. "We've run simulations on using our gravitational manipulation technology to alter the rogue planet's course, but the scale is simply too large. We'd need an energy source orders of magnitude more powerful than anything we currently possess." The room fell silent as the magnitude of the problem sank in. It was Aria who finally broke the silence. "What if we combined our technologies, Estrene gravitational manipulation with Earth's fusion reactors?" Zilx's skin flickered with interest. "An intriguing proposal, Captain. But even then, the power requirements would be enormous." "What about antimatter?" This came from a young human physicist, Dr. Alex Wong. "We've been experimenting with antimatter production on a small scale. If we could ramp it up." Krelvor's skin pulsed with excitement. "Yes, antimatter combined with our gravity tech could provide the energy we need. But producing enough antimatter in time would be nearly impossible," Dr. Wong finished. "But it's our best shot." Aria stood up, addressing the council. "Then that's what we'll do. We'll pool our resources, our brightest minds, humans and Estrenes working together to save both our worlds." The next months were a flurry of activity. On Earth, antimatter production facilities were constructed at a breakneck pace. On Austria Prime, engineers worked tirelessly to adapt their gravity manipulation technology to an unprecedented scale. The Unity became the central hub of the operation, coordinating efforts between the 2 worlds. Aria found herself working around the clock, mediating disputes, allocating resources, and keeping morale high as the deadline loomed ever closer. One evening, as she stared out at the stars from her quarters, Xyloxa joined her. "You look troubled, Captain Chen." Aria sighed. "I can't help but think. What if we fail? What if, after all this, we can't stop it?" Zilx's skin rippled with a pattern Aria had come to recognize as compassion. "Then we will face that outcome together, as allies and friends. But I have faith in our combined abilities. Already, we have achieved what neither of our species could have done alone." Aria nodded, feeling a renewed sense of determination. "You're right. We've come too far to give up now." As the months passed, progress was made, But setbacks were frequent. An antimatter containment failure on Earth set the project back weeks. On Astrea Prime, the gravity generators kept overloading, requiring constant recalibration. But through it all, the Alliance held. Humans and Astreans worked side by side, each learning from the other, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Finally, with mere weeks to spare, the combined fleet was ready. An armada of ships, each equipped with antimatter-powered gravity generators, prepared to intercept the rogue planet at the edge of the Astrean system. As Aria stood on the bridge of the Unity, now the flagship of this unprecedented fleet, she couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. In the face of extinction, two species that were strangers mere months ago had come together to attempt the impossible. "All ships report ready, Captain," Lieutenant Patil announced. Aria took a deep breath, keenly aware that the fate of two civilizations rested on what happened next. "Then let's make history. All ships, engage on my mark." As the countdown began, Aria silently hoped that the bonds forged in this crisis would be strong enough to withstand the challenge ahead. The battle for survival was about to begin. Battle for survival. The combined human-Astrean fleet hung in space like a glittering constellation, facing the ominous bulk of the approaching rogue planet. From the bridge of the Unity, Captain Aria Chen watched as the massive object grew larger on the view screen, its gravitational influence already causing subtle disturbances in the nearby space. "All ships in position, Captain," reported Lieutenant Patil. "Gravitational field generators primed and ready." Aria nodded, her face set with determination. "Commence Operation World Shield on my mark. 3, 2, 1, engage." At her command, the fleet sprang into action. Hundreds of ships activated their gravity generators simultaneously, creating a massive, interwoven field of gravitational force. The plan was to gradually alter the rogue planet's trajectory, steering it away from the populated systems. For the first few hours, everything seemed to be going according to plan. The rogue planet's path began to deviate ever so slightly, confirming that their efforts were having an effect. But then, alarms began blaring across the fleet. "Captain, we're detecting massive gravitational fluctuations from the rogue planet," Dr. Tanaka called out, her eyes wide with concern. It's not behaving like a normal celestial body should." Xyloxa, who had insisted on being present for the operation, moved to examine the readings. Their skin pulsed with patterns of shock and disbelief. "Impossible. These readings suggest the planet is reacting to our efforts, almost as if it's alive." Aria's mind raced. The living planet. The concept seemed absurd, yet the evidence was right before them. "All ships, increase power to the gravity generators. We need to push harder." The fleet responded, pouring more energy into their efforts. For a moment, it seemed to be working. The rogue planet's course began to alter more dramatically. But then, everything went wrong. The surface of the rogue planet began to shift and morph, tendrils of matter extending out towards the fleet. Several ships, caught off guard by this unexpected development, were ensnared and crushed. "Evasive maneuvers," Aria shouted. "All ships fall back and regroup." As the fleet scattered, narrowly avoiding the planet's attacks, Aria turned to Xyloxa and Dr. Tanaka. "I need options. What are we dealing with here?" Dr. Tanaka's fingers flew over her console. "Based on these readings, it seems to be some sort of massive, planet-sized organism. It's using gravitational fields as a form of propulsion and defense." Xyloxa's skin rippled with rapid calculations. "If it's alive, perhaps we can communicate with it, reason with it." Aria nodded. "It's worth a try. Dr. Tanaka, work with the Astrean scientists. See if you can find a way to establish communication. In the meantime, we need to keep that thing occupied and away from populated space." What followed was a deadly dance through the void. The human Astrean fleet darted and weaved, using their gravity generators to deflect the living planet's attacks while simultaneously trying to alter its course. Hours stretched into days as the battle raged on. Ships were lost, crews sacrificed themselves to save others. But still, they fought on. The Unity coordinated the efforts, with Area working tirelessly to keep the fleet organized and effective. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Dr. Tanaka's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, we've done it. We've established a rudimentary form of communication." Area felt a glimmer of hope. "Put it through, Doctor. Let's see if we can end this peacefully." The communication was unlike anything they had experienced before. It wasn't words or images, but rather a complex series of gravitational pulses that their computers struggled to interpret. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. The entity, which they began calling the Gravemind, was ancient beyond imagining. It had been drifting through space for eons, consuming planets and stars to sustain itself. It hadn't even been aware of the existence of smaller life forms like humans and Astrines. Through painstaking effort, Area and Xyloxa managed to convey the concept of the civilizations the Gravemind was threatening. To their surprise and relief, the entity showed curiosity rather than hostility. "It's asking if there are other places it could go," Dr. Tanaka translated. "Places without yum life." As it puts it, Area and Xyloxa exchanged glances. This was an opportunity, but also a massive ethical dilemma. Could they in good conscience direct this planet-eating entity to another part of the galaxy? After heated debate, a decision was reached. They would offer the Gravemind guidance to a region of space known to be devoid of life, a vast expanse between galactic arms where it could continue its journey without threatening populated worlds. To their relief, the Gravemind accepted. Slowly, agonizingly, the massive entity began to alter its course, guided by the combined fleet. As the immediate danger passed, Area allowed herself a moment of reflection. They had faced an unimaginable threat and emerged victorious, not through superior firepower, but through communication and understanding. The battle was over, but its repercussions would be felt for generations to come. As the fleet began the long journey home, Area knew that the alliance between humans and Astrines had been forged in fire, tested beyond measure, and emerged stronger than ever. The galaxy, it seemed, was full of wonders and dangers beyond their wildest imaginings. But together, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. A new era, the return of the combined human-Astrine fleet to their home systems, was met with jubilant celebrations. Streets on both Earth and Astrea Prime were filled with beings of both species, rejoicing in their shared victory and newfound bond. The Unity, bearing the scars of battle, was welcomed as a symbol of interstellar cooperation and resilience. Captain Area Chen stood before a joint assembly of human and Astrine leaders, her posture straight, but her eyes reflecting the weariness of their ordeal. Beside her stood Xyloxa, their iridescent skin shimmering with patterns of pride and hope. "Distinguished leaders," Area began, her voice carrying across the grand hall. "The crisis we faced was unlike anything our species have ever encountered. It tested not just our technological capabilities, but our ability to work together in the face of extinction. I stand before you today proud to say that we did not merely survive, we thrived." Xyloxa stepped forward, their multifaceted eyes scanning the assembly. "The Gravemind incident has shown us that the universe is far more complex and wondrous than either of our species imagined. We face not just challenges, but opportunities that we can only seize together." The assembly listened intently as Area and Xyloxa outlined their proposal for a formalized alliance between humans and Astrines. This wasn't to be a mere treaty, but a deep integration of their societies, leveraging the strengths of both species to explore and protect their shared galaxy. As the details of the alliance were hammered out over the following weeks, changes began to sweep across both civilizations. On Earth, Astrine bioarchitecture began to reshape cities, creating sustainable, living environments that adapted to human needs. In return, human arts and culture flourished on Astrea Prime, inspiring new forms of creative expression among the logically inclined Astrines. Dr. Yuki Tanaka found herself at the forefront of a new field of study, xenobiology on a cosmic scale. The encounter with the Gravemind had opened up new avenues of research into life forms that defied conventional understanding. "We need to expand our definition of life," she explained during a lecture that was broadcast across both worlds. "The Gravemind shows us that consciousness can exist on scales we never imagined. Who knows what other forms of life might be out there, perhaps right under our noses, operating on levels we haven't even considered." Meanwhile, the Unity, under Aria's command, was recommissioned as the flagship of a new joint exploration fleet. Its mission: to venture into the unknown reaches of the galaxy, seeking out new life and new civilizations, and to protect the interests of both humans and Astrians. As preparations for their first major expedition were underway, Aria found Ziluxa on the observation deck, gazing out at the stars. "Nervous about our upcoming journey?" Aria asked, joining her friend. Ziluxa's skin rippled with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "A little. We're venturing into true unknown territory now. But I find I'm more excited than afraid. After all, look how far we've come already." Aria nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "Indeed, from first contact to saving each other from extinction in less than a year, I'd say we make a pretty good team." "That we do, Captain Chen. That we do." As they stood there, contemplating the vast expanse before them, a communication came through. A distant human colony had picked up an unusual signal, possibly artificial in origin. Aria and Ziluxa exchanged glances, both recognizing the implications. Another first contact, or perhaps something else entirely. "Well," Aria said, straightening her uniform, "shall we go see what the universe has in store for us next?" Zilux's skin pulsed with agreement. "Let's, together." As the Unity prepared to embark on its new mission, there was a palpable sense of anticipation throughout both human and Astrian space. The Gravemind incident, terrifying as it had been, had opened their eyes to the true vastness and diversity of the cosmos. It had also shown them the strength they possessed when united. New joint research projects were launched, combining human intuition and creativity with Astrian logic and advanced technology. The results were nothing short of revolutionary. Breakthroughs in energy production, space travel, and even the nature of reality itself came in rapid succession. But perhaps the most profound change was in the mindset of both species. The concept of us versus them began to fade, replaced by a sense of shared cosmic citizenship. Children on both worlds grew up learning each other's languages and cultures, and interspecies families became increasingly common. As the Unity ventured forth into the unknown, it carried with it the hopes and dreams of two civilizations. Whatever challenges lay ahead, humans and Astrians would face them as one. The dawn of a new era had truly begun. Aria Chen, standing on the bridge of the Unity as it prepared to jump to its first destination, felt a sense of déjà vu. Once again, she was venturing into the unknown, representing not just humanity, but a united alliance of two species. But this time, she wasn't alone. Beside her stood Ziluxa, and around her, a crew of both humans and Astrians, each bringing their unique strengths to the mission. As the stars stretched into streaks of light, signaling the beginning of their journey, Aria couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism. Yes, the universe was vast and often dangerous, but it was also filled with wonders beyond imagination. And together, there was nothing they couldn't achieve. "New course laid in, Captain," reported Lieutenant Patel, his voice filled with excitement. Aria nodded, exchanging a glance with Ziluxa. "Then let's see what's out there. Engage." And with that, the Unity leaped into the unknown, carrying with it the spirit of cooperation and adventure that would define this new era of galactic exploration.